treating gracilis with your client lying face up or supine. Working across the body and doing some nice soothing. Often clients haven't had deep specific work in the inner thigh muscles, so doing some nice just broad-handed compression, some nice soothing along that line of gracilis, just to get the body ready. Soothing, following the track of gracilis, and goes all the way, that thickness up by the pubic bone, and then glides down and ends up at the pes anserine just below the knee, attaching with sartorius and with semitendinosus, one of the hamstrings, and then gracilis comes off that pes anserine and right through the center. And so once we've kind of let the nervous system know that we're coming, and here we are, we're going to get real specific. About halfway between the pelvis and the knee, right along that line, is usually about where you'll find a gracilis point. And so sometimes you can feel it and sometimes you can't. You do a little stroking across the tissue. And then I'm going to take one supported thumb and sink straight toward the other side. How about that pressure there? Does that feel okay? And does it feel like I'm on a special spot that feels tender? Do you want more or less pressure?
A little bit less.
A little bit less. And back off is, how about that?
That's good.
Yeah. So trigger points are real tender and they hurt, and often can hurt or feel really exquisite. Always giving your clients permission to tell you less. More also, but really permission to say less, because feeling the most intense pressure is not necessarily the idea. And it's not necessarily, you don't want to force the points out. So how about this spot? Is that getting any easier?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to sink down then just a little bit deeper. I'm going to retrap a deeper place in that point. How about, is that okay? Now, gracilis is a knee bender. It does a few things, but it also bends the knee. So one way we could have our client work a little bit more is to straighten that leg by lifting that foot up. As soon as you feel how that pushed in already, right? It's already pushing into my thumb, and then relax completely. Yeah. And then start to straighten that leg again. It's going to push into my thumb, and then drop that leg completely. Let's do that one more time. Start to straighten the leg just enough so that you feel the tissue push into the thumb, and then relax completely. And I can feel there's a little more circulation around there now. It feels a little freer. Is that correct? Yeah. So that halfway point, halfway between the pelvis and the knee, is often our main and very tender spot in gracilis. Lots of soothing, really helpful. And then gracilis, if we follow along just another inch or so above that spot, we might find just another point in our gracilis. So I want to make sure that I'm in gracilis and not in sartorius. And so we'll go just a little bit higher. And how about there? Is there a tender spot in there? Yeah. And do you want more or less pressure?
That's good.
Good there. Okay. And taking a few nice deep breaths in your belly as much as possible. Belly expanding. And would you let me know when that feels easier?
Yeah, it's feeling better.
Feeling better, great. Okay. And then just as we slowly sink in, we slowly draw out of the points. And see, notice there's just about an inch between those 2 points along that gracilis line. And we just do some nice soothing. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and start soothing this other side. And this is a really nice way to do the soothing on when you're on the same side of the table for any inner thigh stuff. Just rolling your hands down, rolling, letting the heels of your hands have a little pressure. And then for the actual work, we're going to move to the other side of the table. So gracilis, second side, working across the body, using a little bit of heel of the hand pressure along that line, gracilis, and kind of softening the whole thing. The body really likes a little bit of compression. The nervous system responds really well to compression. So we just soften a little bit through there. And then what I'm also doing is just kind of rolling that gracilis underneath the heels of my hands. Just giving it a little bit of attention, kind of freeing it, because gracilis is such a thin muscle. There's a lot of connective tissue. The sensation can be a little fiery working in gracilis. Okay. So now we're going to find those two spots. So the first one we find right at the groin, at the pubic bone, right at the knee, and then go about halfway. And then once you find that halfway point, you find the tendon of gracilis. It's just a real thick line of tissue that fills the inside the whole medial border of the thigh. And I just find that halfway spot, and then I isolate with my thumb, and very slowly you sink, because you want to give your client permission to say, right there, or that's enough, because it's a very, very tender spot. Yes? Yeah. Already tender. I don't need to put any more pressure on, right? So I'm just really found it. I wasn't even sinking yet. I didn't even really put any pressure in, although you can perhaps see that my thumb has gotten a little deeper. Her body has just let me in. I didn't shift my body at all. I didn't put any more pressure. I didn't lean in. Feels like it's softening. Is that true,
Yes.
Michaela? Mm-hmm. And so I am going to add a little bit more pressure, just a tiny bit. It's okay? And then let's play with that, starting to straighten the knee. Oh, and then relax the leg back down. All she has to do is begin to straighten the knee, and that has an effect. Go ahead. Start to straighten, and then drop it back down. And one more time. Start to straighten, and right back down. Mm-hmm. Feels better?
It does.
Okay, great. And now we're going to find that second point. So we go right back to where the first point was, And we just go up about an inch or so along that gracilis line. We re-trap that thickness of gracilis, and then we angle directly into it. There? Yep. A couple of nice breaths in the belly. And how's that feeling? Is it feeling a little easier to soften up yet?
Yes.
A little bit. Okay, great. So she said yes. So we're going to move off it and then back to some soothing. Okay, great. And that is treating gracilis with the client supine.